Good day, teaching everyone. I am Sinimi Pamaong, BSHM 3A, and today I'm going to discuss the laws regulating transportation establishments in Chapter 7. And so, for our learning objectives, first is identify the laws affecting the transportation sector, identify the passengers' transportations of rights of commercial, and explain the relevance of these laws to the promotion of tourism in the country. So, for our topic outline, we have the law on common carriers, responsibility of common carriers, liabilities of common carriers for the acts of employees and strangers. You also have the enforcement of liability of common carriers, registration of aircraft, seatbelt law, law on transportations of animals, law on importance of vehicles, public service laws, traffic laws, and also the conclusions. So, it says that from the time the wheel was invented, man began to travel and explore different corners of the world. In modern times, with the inventions of the first flying machine and marine vessel, tourism started to grow at a fast pace. Transportation as a business carriers with it not only high returns, but great responsibility for many lives are at stake in this risky sector of tourism. So it means that from the inventions of the wheel to modern airplanes and ships, transportation has fueled global tourism with technological advancement. Travel became faster and more accessible, boosting the tourism industry. However, transportation businesses carry immense responsibilities as safety is crucial in high-risk sector where many lives are at stake. So for the next slide also states that the Philippines has become one of the promising tourist destinations due to the extraordinary hospitality of the Filipinos and the diversity of the tourist attractions in the country. However, one challenging aspect of promoting inbound tourism in Philippines is the security and safety issue. On one hand, some of the best transportation and travel professionals are Filipinos. Examples are seafarers, pilot, pilots, drivers, flight attendants, cruise cabin crew, aircraft mechanics, etc. and etc. On the other hand, some of the worst recorded transportation disasters and accidents are in the Philippines. The transportation sector is therefore greatly affected by this concern. This chapter will deal with the different laws affecting the transportation sector as they are integral in the study of tourism. So we all know that the Philippines is a top tourist destination known for its warm hospitality and diverse attractions. However, safety and security remain major challenges in promoting inbound tourism. While many Filipinos excel as transportation professionals, the country has also experienced serious transportation accidents. This issue greatly impact the transportation sector. So this chapter explores the laws that regulate transportations, highlighting their importance in the tourism industry. So for the next slide is the law on common carriers. The primary law that governs common carriers in the Civil Code of the Philippines, as clearly implied from the Article 1766 thereof, which states that in all that matters not regulated by this code, the right and obligations of common carriers shall be governed by the Code of Commerce and special laws. So we have the law on Article 1732. Common carriers are persons, corporations, firms, or associations engaged in the business of carrying or transporting passengers of goods or both by land, water, or air for compensations, offering their services to the public. So the Civil Code of the Philippines primarily governs common carriers with additional regulations from the Code of Commerce and special laws. According to Article 1732, common carriers are businesses of individuals that transport passengers or goods by land, sea, or air for a fee, offering their services to the public. We also have these liabilities of common carriers for the act of employees and strangers law. So for the law on Article 1759, common carriers are liable for the death or injuries to passenger through the negligence of willful acts of the former's employees, although such employees may have acted beyond the scope of their authority or in violations of the orders of the common carriers. This liability of the common carriers does not cease upon proof that they are exercised the diligence of a good father of a family in the selections and supervisions of their employees. So the Article 1759 states that the common carriers are responsible for passenger injuries or deaths caused by their employees, even if the employees acted beyond their authority or against company orders. This liability remains even if the carrier exercises proper diligence in hiring and supervising staff. We also have the enforcement of liability of common carriers. The liability of the common carriers can be enforced on the following causes of actions. First is in case of death or injury caused to passenger, the victim may file a case of breach of contract of carriage or scopo contractual against the owner of the common carrier. Second is in case of death or injury caused to a stranger or pedestrian, the victim may file a criminal complaint against the driver of the common carrier for reckless imprudence resulting in homicide and damage to property. The victim may also file a civil suit against the common carrier and its driver on the ground of culpa acqualiana or quasi delict. So we also have the law, the nature of airplane, bus, and shipping tickets. So the best evidence of a contract of carriage is a passage ticket. Under our jurisprudence, jurisprudence, an airline, bus, or shipping ticket in a contract of additions, considering that all the provisions thereof are prepared and drafted only by the carrier. The only participation left of the other party is to affix his signature thereto. In such situation, the Supreme Court ruled that the terms thereof must be interpreted against the party who drafted the same. In this case, the carrier or the passenger ticket serves as proof of a contract of carriage. Since airlines, bus companies, and shipping lines draft these tickets without passenger input, they are considered contracts of adhesions. So the Supreme Court ruled that any unclear terms should be interpreted in favor of the passenger and against the carrier. We have here the regulations and the transportation business. So the Department of Transportation and Communications, or the DOTC, is a primary policy, planning, programming, regulating, and administrative entity of the executive branch of government in the promotion, development, and regulations of dependable and coordinated network of transportation and communications system, as well in the fast, safe, efficient in 1987, and reliable postal transportation and communication services, or the administrative code of one book. It has the power, authority, and technical expertise to determine whether or not a specific transportation or communications project is necessary, viable, and beneficial to the people. And also, the regulations of the air transportation business in Legislative Act number 3909, passed by the Philippine Legislative on November 20, 1931, create an office under the Department of Commerce and Communication to handle aviation's matter governing particularly the enforcement of the rules and regulations governing commercial aviation as well as private flying. It was amended by the Act 3996 to licensing of airmen and of the aircraft concerning air traffic rules, schedules and rates, and enforcement aircraft inspections of the aviation law. Next slide is the registrations of aircraft. So the law on aircraft owned by or leased to a citizen or citizens of the Philippines and which are not registered under the laws of any foreign country may be eligible for the registrations. And also the regulations of the shipping industry. The Maritime Industry Authority, or the Marina, was created on June 1, 1974, with the issuance of the Presidential Decree Number 474 to integrate the development, promotions, and regulations of the maritime industry in the country. It was originally placed under the Office of the President with the creation of the ministry, now the Department of Transportation and Communications by virtue of Executive Order Number 546. The Marina was attached to the DOTC for policy and program coordinations on July 23, 1979. Only aircraft known or leased by Filipino citizens or not registered in another country can be registered in the Philippines. For the shipping industry, the Maritime Industry Authority Marina was established in 1974 to oversee maritime development and regulations. Initially under the Office of the President, Marina was later attached to the Department of the Transportations and Communications in 1979 for policy coordinations. We also have the standard requirements of the tourist land transport vehicles. To be registerable, every tourist transport must be found roadworthy upon inspection by a team from the Department of Tourism. In the case of bus or coaster, it shall not be more than 10 years reckoned from the year of manufacture. For a tourist car, it shall not be more than 5 years reckoned from the year of manufacture, provided, however, the tourist luxury car shall have a maximum allowable age of 10 years. For this purpose, luxury cars shall refer to passenger cars with engine displacement of not less than 2190 cc and which are not locally assembled to manufactured. Every tourist transport shall be provided with a left-hand drive. It shall be properly equipped with adequate air conditioning units, and it shall not be provided or installed with at least one portable fire extinguisher for the protection of its passenger. So, tourist transport must have passed a Department of Tourism inspection to ensure the roadworthiness. Age limits are set for vehicles. Buses and coasters must be under 10 years old. Tourist cars under 5 years and luxury cars up to 10 years old. If they have at least a 2190 cc engine and are not locally made, all tourist vehicles must have left-hand drive, air conditioning, and a portable fire extinguisher for passenger safety. Next is the standard requirements for the tourist air transport. Adequate life-saving devices and adequate communication equipment should be provided in accordance with the requirements prescribed by the Air Transportation Office. So this statement means that any air transportations must ensure they have enough life-saving equipment like life jacket, emergency oxygen masks, and communication devices like radios, emergency beacons that meets the standards set by the relevant aviation authority, typically referred to as the Transportation Office or the Air Transportation Office in the context of air travel. So we have the key points: life-saving devices. This includes any equipment designed to assist a passenger in an emergency situation like flotation devices for water landings, emergency oxygen masks, and survival kits. Communication equipment. This refers to devices used for contacting ground control or other aircraft during emergencies, including radios, satellites, communication system, and emergency beacons. Transportation offers requirements. The specific details of what constitutes adequate life-saving and communication equipment are defined by the aviation regulatory body in charge, ensuring a minimum safety standard is met. Next are the documents required to support applications for accreditations to operate as tourist transport operator. First is mayor's permit or municipal license, business name certificate and all amendments thereto if any, in the case of single proprietorship. In the case of corporations or partnership, a certified true copy of articles of incorporation, its bylaws or articles of partnership, and amendments thereto, if any, duly registered with the Securities Exchange Commission. Proof of ownership or contract or lease over an area adequate to serve as maintenance depot and garage for its units, not applicable to water transport. A list of names of all officials and employees and their respective designations, nationalities, home addresses, certified correct under oath by the general manager or the president President, and such other papers of documents as may be required from the time to time by the department. We have here for the land transport, a copy of the LTFRB certificate of franchise or authorizations for tourist car bus service. A copy of transportation rates as approved by the LTFRB, pictures of vehicles showing the side, back, and front views thereof with the company's name and logo imprinted at its near and sides, respectively, such other papers or documents as may be required from time to time by the department, and for water transport, a copy of Certificate of Public Convenience and Necessity issued by Maritime Ministry Authority, a copy of transportation rates as approved by the Maritime Industry Authority, pictures of the vessel showing the side, back, and front view thereof with the company's names and or logo imprinted at its sides, a copy of routes to be served and schedules, such other papers or documents as may be required from the time to time by the department, and for air transport, a copy of certificate of public convenience and necessity issued by the Civil Aeronautics Boards, a copy of transportation rates or as approved by the Civil Aeronautic Boards, pictures of the plane showing the side, back, and front views thereof with the company's names and or logo imprinted on its sides. List of operations maintenance officials and personnel with their ATO licenses. Copy of the rules to be served and flight schedules, and such other papers or documents as may be required from time to time by the department. We have here the seatbelt law. The seatbelt law was enacted to ensure secure and safe guard its necessary, particularly the passengers and drivers of the private and public motor vehicles, from the ruinous and extremely injurious effects of vehicular accidents. In order to secure the safety of the passengers and drivers at all times, the mandatory enforcement of the use of seatbelt devices by the drivers and front seat passenger at the private and public motor vehicles shall be enforced. So the seatbelt law ensures the safety of drivers and passengers by requiring the mandatory use of seatbelts in private and public vehicles. This law aims to reduce injuries and fatalities from vehicular accidents through strict enforcement. We have the law transport of animals. So the law, by virtue of the Republic Act 8485, also known as the Animal Welfare Act of 1998, it shall be the duty of the operator of any land, air, or water public utility transporting pets, wildlife, and all other animals to provide in all cases adequate, clean, and sanitary facilities for the safe conveyance and delivery thereof to their consignee at the place of confinement. These animals shall be provided sufficient food and water while in transit for more than 12 hours or whenever necessary. No public utility shall transport any such animal without a written permit from the Director of the Bureau of Animal Industry or his or her authorization representative. Any form of cruelty shall be penalized even if the transported has obtained a permit from the Bureau of Animal Industry. Cruelty in transporting, including overcrowding, placing animals in the trunks or under the food trunks of the vehicles. Law on importation of vehicles. So there are relevant laws on importations of vehicles which may be useful for the transportation business, namely Republic Act 7227 allows the free flow of goods and capital within the Subic Bay Free Port in Subic, province of Zambales, in order to attract investors to invest their capital in a business climate with the least government interventions. So the Republic Act 7227 promotes free trade in the Subic Bay Free Port, allowing the importations of vehicles with minimal government interventions. This aims to attract investors and boost economic activity in the area. We have here the public service laws. So the law, public service includes every person who may own, operate, manage or control in the Philippines for hire or compensations with general or limited clientele, whether permanent, occasional, or accidental, and done for general business purposes. Any common carrier, railroad or street railway, traction railway, subway, motor vehicle, steamboat or steamship, line ferries, and water aircraft or shipyard. Unless otherwise exempt, s- no public service shall operate without having been issued a certificate of public convenience or a certificate of public convenience and necessity. Public service covers individuals or businesses operating transportation services for hire in the Philippines. A certificate of public convenience or the CPC or the certificate of public convenience and necessity or the CPCN is required to operate unless exempted by the law. So we also have the traffic law. So the Republic Act number 4136, which is enacted on June 20, 1964, is a compilation of laws relative to the traffic rules and regulations. Some of the highlights of the laws are as follows. So the rules and registrations of the motor vehicles. We have here the traffic law, Republic Act number 4136, which is enacted on June 20, 1964, is a compilation of laws relative to the traffic rules and regulations. Some of the highlights of the law are as follows. Rules of registration of motor vehicles. No motor vehicle shall be used or operated or upon any public highway of the Philippines unless the same is properly registered at the LTO. So the Republic Act number 4136 sets traffic rules and regulations. It mandates that all motor vehicles must be registered with the Land Transportation Office or the LTO before being used on public roads in the Philippines. So rules on registrations of motor vehicles. Tourists bring their own motor vehicle to the Philippines may, without registering such motor vehicles, use the same during but not after 90 days of their sojourn, provided that the motor vehicle displays the number plates of the current year of the some other country or state, and said number plates as well as the name and address, permanent and temporary, of the owner thereof are registered in the Land Transportation Commissions prior to the operations of the motor vehicle. For public utility automobiles, application for registration shall be accompanied by a certificate of public convenience, and motor vehicles registered shall be subject to the public service law, rules and regulations. No person shall operate any motor vehicle without first procuring a license to drive the motor vehicle for the current year, nor while such license is delinquent, invalid, suspended, or revoked. The license shall be carried by the driver at all times when operating vehicle and shall be shown and or surrendered for the cost and upon demand to any person with authority under this act to confiscate the same. And examinations or demonstrative person show any applicant's ability to operate motor vehicles may also be required. So in conclusions, laws regulating transportation establishment focusing on the legal guidelines that governs the transportation industry. These regulations are designed to promote safety, fairness, and accountability by setting standards for vehicle maintenance, driver qualifications, insurance requirements, and passenger rights. The laws also address issues such as pricing, routes, and the prevention of monopolies in the sector. Overall, these laws are essential for ensuring that transportation services operate in a responsible and organized manner, benefiting both businesses and the public. So the transportation laws ensure safety, fairness, and accountability by regulating vehicle standards, driving qualifications, insurance, and passenger rights. They also oversee pricing routes and prevent monopolies. These laws help maintain, organize, and responsible transportation services for the benefit of businesses and the public. Before I end my part, here's a important quote from Louis D. Brandeis that says, "If we desire respect for the law, we must first make the respectable law." So, Louis D. Brandeis emphasizes that for people to respect the law itself must be fair, just, and worthy of respect. Good laws or their proper enforcement and build trust and compliance in society. That would be all. Thank you and God bless.